back on the Derwent River, and as you can see, Andoo Comanche just quietly working our way up towards Hobart. Hobart just about visible in the background, and the breezes have been slightly up and down, but fairly consistently at about 5 to 7 knots. It's getting kind of patchy, as it often does in the river here. This will be a little tricky, but they've got themselves still a pretty good lead on LawConnect. As you can see, since we last saw her, the breeze has just clocked a little bit left, so they've been able to ease the big code 0, and they're just doing maybe, I don't know, what are we doing, 6, 7 knots, maybe a little bit more now. Sam Newton on the right there, you can see him. Then we've got the trio at the back. What you're looking at then is Graham Taylor steering there, and he's talking to Sebi Jarvin, who's the tactician on board. We saw Ian Murray a moment ago. You'll also see that most of the crew are up on the foredeck. So one of the things they've done since they've acquired the boat 2 years ago is really work out how to keep weight out of the bottom. As you can see, she's a big, wide, beamy bum on the thing. In these light airs, they've just got to get people forward. Pablo Sarasate, who's probably been with this boat for more than anybody else, is yelling up to the top of the mast because there's a guy up there doing some wind spotting. Not very surprisingly, because they're really just trying to find their way, pick their way here. So now they've just come up slightly up more onto the breeze. I think they're probably doing some breeze dodging, so they're just working out where pressure is. So in these circumstances, it's not about the straightest line, it's actually about sailing to where the breeze is. It can pan out really quickly, and of course the one thing they've got to be able to do is to keep themselves between the Hobart and LawConnect. That's the old rule, of course, as we know, stay between your opponent and the finish. The breeze has probably picked up a little bit more here now than it was when we were just heading out to go and see them. And that wind spotter up the top is really important. So he's shouting down to Pablo, oh look, here we are, we're going to do a sheet change out on the end here. These guys sort of behave like acrobats. The beauty of this is you don't have to have anybody winding a drum, you just press the button. So they're doing a sheet change. That's possibly to give themselves a little bit better angle out the back there. Yep, they've taken that one off. And you'll see they've got the whisker pole out. Not that they're really using that at the moment, which is the one out on the right there, which just gets them a bit of a wider shooting angle. Daggerboards, one daggerboard down, one up, I think. I don't know, it's hard to see at the moment. Yeah, so what do you see when you look at the back? Those 3 holes down there are escape. The middle one's the escape route, and the second one is the 2 other ones are the life raft. So lessons learnt from the Fastnet race with an inversion of what was once Rambler, Loyal, which speedboat. Yeah, if these things drop a keel and so on, things happen very fast. So you've got to be able to get off the boat, and if you're down below, you've got to be able to get out quickly and into a life raft. They've not done a huge number of mods really to the boat in the 2 years they've had it. Most of what they've been doing is changing sails. They spend an enormous amount of money on brand new mainsails and various other new sails. Technology is moving on. There's Sevi Jarvin at the back there, just sort of doing a bit of breeze spotting as well, just talking tactics. Jake, if you look to the right, you can sort of see, just slightly to the right of the boat, you can just see the docks at Hobart in the background, so we've got a couple of miles to go yet. That's Ian Murray on the starboard side there, just keeping an eye on things. He's the sailing master. Yeah, they're prepping here. I'm not sure what for. Probably just overrunning the big elastics that allow them to run the sheets when they're jiving. So we've got a chopper in the background here. And yep, he's going to be doing, you can see them waving away, so they're going to go into a jibe. They want to be on the other side of the river. They're trying to keep angles here. The guy up the mast is just being told we're jibing, so just trying to keep everybody out of the way. So that'll be fun. We'll be able to see them go. There's Ian Murray waving all the spectator craft away, and they're wanting to head over to the right side of the river. They have to anyway. They wouldn't be. The one thing with this boat is you just can't be sailing square. It has to be sailing 2 VMGs, which basically means it's got to be creating apparent wind. As soon as it goes square, it just sits. So they're sailing, jibing their way down up the river. A bit of prep going on here. This chopper coming in really low. It's really good to be doing a finish in daylight. It's just so much harder at night, even seeing what's going on. And here you are, you've got perfect vision of the whole thing. So we'll see her through the jibe, and then we may just call it quits there and come back for the finish, which we're not far away from. You can just see the low cloud on the horizon just hanging above the hills. It's looking, when we look up the river there towards Hobart, I'd have to say it's looking very light indeed. So it may well be that what they're doing here in jibing over to this side is to keep breeze on that side and then be coming in on starboard, on port again. So they go into the starboard jibe, they furl the code 0, they get it round the front of the forestay there, and then they unfurl, as you can see that. And you just want every one of these furls to work perfectly. They cannot afford to be having a jam up here. That's really beautiful in the early sun. So all of the spectator boats now are all scattering as she comes at them, and you can get a really clear view of everybody up on the foredeck here. We're getting a really nice view close up. GT's moved across to the starboard wheel. There's Ian Murray up on the deck there, just keeping an eye out on breeze. Ed Smythe on trimming in the pit there. Who else do we recognise? Getting a bit wobbly here. Okay, and the guy coming down the mast has swung himself around the front and is coming down. There's Sam Fay with Sevi Jarvan and Ian Murray. Ian's just waving this boat away. You do not want any disturbance in these sorts of conditions. The boat's just got to be allowed to just run nice and cleanly. And again, the guy's now up on the starboard side, up at the top of the mast there, just keeping an eye on things. This is beautiful, beautiful light as well. Lovely to have some breeze and daylight as well. Okay, so we're going to just call it quits here, Jake, I think, for now, and we'll come back to you for the finish. I'm not sure how far across the river they're going to go here, but we'll get you at the run into the finish while I go and take some photographs.